So yeah, I recently got too much into uh, just taking videos.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
So
it's kind of a hobby for you, right?
yeah, I try to teach that it's fun. Really? Then you,
I cannot open .NET.
I see, I see. Anyway, this
Hello.
is Indra.
How are you?
Indra.
So, yeah,
Nice to meet you.
research engineer. Indra is going to help out with the module as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still going through, that process of clearing your name with the Ministry of Education. Yeah, so
Okay.
it sometimes take quite a.
I see, I see.
Oh, there's a delay, huh? Good.
Oh,
So you're getting your PhD, I guess. And I know that you guys have a lot of spaces, right, on your website. Are you trying to get students to build on it as well?
students to build on.
I see a lot of like digital twinning or a metaverse spaces in your website, the immersion. Are you trying to get students to build on it as well, or?
As much as possible, we try to involve students. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. I just need to start this.
Sure.
You all can just go ahead and do whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, hi. I know there's no sound on Zoom because I muted it. YouTube gets the stream directly from OBS, so that's why you hear something there. Yeah, and the mic is not even here. So yeah, can you guys hear me? Just doing a sound check. Yes, no. Can I have some responses? Yes. Thanks. Thank you. Maybe there's a lag. Yeah, warning is that I am on SIT's Wi-Fi, so things are not the most stable. I've asked for the LAN to be enabled, but apparently it is taking quite a while. Audio and video not synced. That is a bit strange. Okay, all very good feedback. Yeah, thanks, Sri, for letting me know that somehow the audio and video not synced over Zoom. Okay, so YouTube the audio is synced. Okay, that's I don't know. I hope that the not so synced part on Zoom is still okay, because by right all of you should be on Zoom for several reasons. One reason is attendance, as I've mentioned on Slack. If you look at in case you are not on Slack right now, please log into that link, or rather click that link over both Moodle, which I've sent, as well as Excite. Yeah, so anyway, I've tried to broadcast everywhere so that you guys get the message. Yeah, so everything after this week, I hope we can just use one platform to broadcast messages. All right. So please ask your friends to join. I see 114 right now. So it's still some way to go before everybody joins. There's 137 of you thus far. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Yeah, the reason why you need to join on Zoom, right, is one, attendance. I don't want to, not have you sign that thing electronically. As far as we can avoid, this admin hassles, we try to. So if you can log in, right, your your attendance record will be recorded, and so we will be able to submit the attendance easily to DigiPen. Yep. So that's one thing. If you are really having issues, then watch it on YouTube. Yeah. But otherwise, the second thing why you need to be on Zoom is because I'm running the Mentimeter thing, the quiz thing live. So if you're on YouTube, you would not be able to participate in time because there is, as you know, I think I see your names, right? I believe I've taught you guys before, right? In 28, not 280, what is that? 2181 data structures. Yes, yeah. Well, thanks, Kevin. Yeah, I'm touched. But anyway, yes. What was I saying? So I've taught you guys before. You know that I like to use quizzing systems. In this case, Mentimeter. So it's live. If you're not on Zoom, then you may not be able to participate in time. I know the truth is even if you don't participate, it doesn't really affect your grades directly, but as you also know that I have that bonus point system thing, which if you get 2 times of top scorer, you would get bonus points. Yes, so there's still some incentive there, but I mean the incentive is not really the bonus points, but more of basically getting the most out of the learning. If you don't go through the quiz, as you know, I've run this so many times, this format, that students, you guys, I mean, and girls, right, they really like the fact that you get tested in a quiz. I mean, not ungraded quiz. So to get the best learning experience, I think, yeah, please participate in the quiz. The other thing is, I'm using a bit of a strange or rather unorthodox setup over here, that on Zoom, I am not sharing my video, but I am sharing my screen with a video in my share screen. All right, this is because my setup right now, it just, I find it too much of a hassle to go and click the share screen button on Zoom and then having to switch things. So I have a Stream Deck set up here, which I can easily change the screens when I need to. So that's why I'm using this setup over here. I hope it works. I mean, if it doesn't work, then I have to go back to the old system of switching around Zoom screens. So let me know if anything is too broken. And I also find that, especially here with not so stable Wi-Fi, sometimes the OBS crashes. Well, I mean, I'm not just blaming Wi-Fi. OBS is open source software as well. So in case it crashes, just give me some time to reopen it, which should be pretty quick from experience. Okay. Hey, so first thing, you all say that the audio and the video sound are not synced, right? Just let me know if it affects. I'll sync already. Then definitely it should be the network issue. Yeah, so good. First thing I would want everybody to do is, yes, Mentimeter, as you know, you were in my class previously. Please join using this. Okay, sorry, I'm not on the presentation mode. There's a QR code here, but I believe most of you are not on the move. If you are, yeah, you have my respect on doing multitask. But if you are, you can also just participate as well if you are able to be on the move and still watch this and participate. That's up to you. All right, but I think most of you should be on your desktop or laptop, I mean. Yeah. So first activity, to start off the interaction. Yes, please type A+. Very good. I like that. Be a VTuber. Okay. Never touch VR again. Hey, we haven't even started. You don't want to touch VR. That's interesting. I was trying to click to see, you know, if I can know the name of whoever posted this, but I guess it's anonymous. Okay. To pass. Wow, okay. Mind your language, please. I know short form, but people can still make out what you are typing. All right. So I'm serious here. So please, when you are posting, you know, messages publicly, please mind your language. All right. And be kind to everybody else when you are criticizing or just, you know, commenting on others. Learn cooking. I think that one probably would be very hard to satisfy your goals here. But maybe you are thinking about doing a project through VR using cooking, right? Or with a cooking theme, which we also cannot help you there. But if you can weave that into your project with our project theme, then probably yes. Okay, most won't die lah, you know. Maybe virtually, but in reality you won't die lah. Yeah. Okay, thanks. That's a lot of participation. Sorry, I can't read everybody's messages, but can see there's a lot of focus on passing the module and getting. I mean that's a bit different, but it's sort of along the same lines of focusing on the grades, which I think we should probably, you know, try and steer away from that. I understand that in reality, I mean, as a student, certainly we need to be aware of what our GPA is, which is why I try to align the learning objectives, or rather the assessment items, to what are the most important things that you need to get out of this module. So hopefully that works. But other than that, I think really the mentality, try as far as possible, you know, that to make it a less of focusing on getting good grades and more of trying to get the most knowledge out of this module. Okay, I'm just scrolling through and see, you know, if there's any other meaningful things that you all have mentioned. Wow, good technical objectives here. Okay. Although I must say, I mean, this is my chance to clarify some of the things. We are not going too deeply technically computer graphics. Just now, I was just telling Indra that, you know, previously we had this prerequisite of computer graphics. By the way, yeah, Indra is one of our upcoming instructors who will be part of this module, which I will introduce in a while. Yeah, if you all were joining me before the stream started, yeah, you have seen us in a conversation. Hopefully I muted that conversation, but yeah, anyway, it's more than just me who's teaching this. Oh, back to what I was talking about, right? Originally, I had computer graphics as a prerequisite, but we removed that because half of you guys are not do not have to take, you know, much too deep modules in computer graphics. So we will not go into this level. All right. Yes. Hi, Indra. Indra is actually just sitting right at that corner. Yes. Over there. So let's go through some of get a B plus. Okay. If you want to aim for grades, be more ambitious lah. Go with all the guys who say A and A plus, right? Okay. Sorry, what were you saying? More understanding. Yes. The second part is what I hope everybody would you know, aim to achieve, you know, rather than the first part. Okay. Okay. Not my language. I only understand Gundam from this. Okay, too much. Let me see. Wow. Okay, AA, GPA 5. Wow, I actually finished. Avoid graphics. That one, I think, also need to clarify that you sort of cannot avoid graphics. So, this module, due to the fact that most of the immersion is delivered through a graphical means. Not saying that that is the only thing that immersive applications include, but as of now, I think a big part of how we deliver this experience is through the graphics. Okay, so you can't really avoid graphics. Yeah. Determine if you should invest in Meta. I think this is also not the right module to help you invest in Meta. So I appreciate that a lot of you are participating and also keep the jokes coming. It's all fun, and there's no need to be too serious about everything. But when it comes down to actually needing to gain the knowledge, I hope we have a more focused mindset here. But yeah, thanks. Okay, glasses. My glasses is because I cycle every day. Yeah, so these are not like purposely made for fashion. Okay, I think that's that. So what I wanted to start with, other than understanding, so I'll go and read that board in more detail to see whether there are other things that I missed out and probably need to clarify from the trend here. Okay, but otherwise, moving on, right? As this is the first module, and actually the first run of the module, I think we need to describe in more clarity what will go on, okay, and what will happen in this module. So let me just jump to what I posted in Slack. Okay. So yeah, Indra, I haven't added you in here because of obvious reasons. Yeah, and I mean to students, you guys, of course, it's not obvious, but we are still clearing the process to get Indra on board. But should be fine. Okay, let me just close the sidebar and maybe. Oh, sorry, I was supposed to increase the font size. Yes. So just to orientate everybody, yes, we will use Slack once again to administer all communication and other administrative tasks in the module. So every week I will post a new week content, a new channel to sort of use it as both folders as well as a way to categorize the chat in the channel. Okay, so every week you are expected to go into the week. So as usual, if in data structures as well, I will announce to the channel that we will have the week content ready by doing this right? Currently we just have week 1 intro, so please click on that and then you should be able to jump and join that channel. Yeah, I can't do automatic forcing you to join new channels. I have done that for new invitees who or new joiners to join week 1, but going forward, right, every new channel that I create, you need to sort of click this yourself, but I will announce in general. Okay, so that's the week's content. And what I was just trying to say is the learning outcomes, right? Yeah. You see that there are several pinned posts on the mobile or on your iPad. It's gonna look different, but on the desktop, well, you should be able to find this. I mean, it's somewhere. That's quite easy to find. The pinned posts are all the important posts that should last forever in the whole thread of chats. Okay, so for example, what I was trying to start with is module profile essentials. So these are extracted from the module profile that you see. Let me just see whether this is big enough, the text. Okay, I'm not seeing that pop up, so let me just check that my screen share is working fine. Okay, it's not working fine, so let me just reshare that again. Okay, give me a while. Okay, just trying to choose Slack. Yes, okay. You all can see the pop-up post, right? Okay. Just quickly, right? I'm seeing that there's some messages in the chat. So if I address what's in the chat first, right? Do we need some knowledge of OpenGL is what Ryan is asking. I would say yes, although you are not required to code by calling OpenGL API, okay? But you should have some knowledge of using graphics library. Okay, so actually the answer is it should be no. Okay, not specifically OpenGL, but the ability to call graphics libraries is quite needed. Okay, not at the low level of multiplying matrices and figuring out the projection matrix and view matrix and multiplying them together yourself. You certainly don't need to do that. Okay, but you should be able to understand what's happening. Lecture slides. Okay, I'll come to that lecture slides point soon. Okay, so those are the questions. Yes, module profile essentials. The 3 learning outcomes are here. I've tried to reduce them to just 3 points. Firstly, for you to be able to explain the hardware software components typical of most immersive applications. I need to explain also that the module title currently is Introduction to VR, but actually, the content itself is more than just VR. And actually, this whole immersive applications, or XR as it is known nowadays, space, this XR space, right, is sort of started with VR. So I think that the module title is still quite appropriate. But just note that although we say virtual reality, I think this term has sort of is a bit old now. It used to be that virtual reality encompassed a lot of different ways to experience more immersive than a desktop kind of experience. It used to be virtual reality is only just a desktop simulation even. All right, but now you have more terms like MR, mixed reality, and AR. So just saying that I will use more generic terms in the content rather than use the word VR to refer to all forms of immersive applications. Yeah. Okay. So that's the first thing. Design and implement. So the second thing is to have you be able to, after the module, right, create some software, all right, as part of immersive app. So that's, of course, in any DigiPen module, right? For all the modules, individually, you should be able to code up this thing. Okay, so that's the second point. The third point is, I think it's also as important as the second point, be able to evaluate this. Because through the evaluation of this kind of immersive application, which should be different from normal other forms of application, then you would understand what are the unique qualities of this kind of application in particular immersive applications. All right. So this one you can read yourself, but it's just going to be the same type of thing. I will try as far as possible to make it more of what we aim to be here. But note that I don't want to always mention the excuse of time, but really time is quite limited for me to create everything like comprehensively. But I will try my best to make it in as to what we have proposed here. All right. So related to that point, right? Yes. Do I hear somebody saying something, or is it myself? Okay. Somebody's echo. Switch on your speaker too close to your mic. Sorry, I was just checking something. Yeah, sorry for that pause. Back to what I was saying, right? The lectorial is one of the key learning approaches, which is, I chose the term from that list of terms, which is the official term that we can choose in the system, in the module profile system, because really it is what we are doing here. It is not just lectures. It is both a lecture and a tutorial, all right? And in modern terminology, it's a flipped classroom. Okay, so it has 2 parts. Every week we will certainly have this component there. Chinese New Year that week, I'll talk about it in a while. But most weeks, I try to do it in 2 parts, except for this week. This week, you can see I have a note here, entirely live stream, because I don't want to like, just give you material before we even meet for the first time. So that's why this whole thing is live stream. But for most of the other weeks, right, I will give you material for the first part. Okay, it's a mix of both my recorded videos of myself. So we just launched, not launched. I mean, we are not like really trying to be a YouTube channel, but as part of what this center here, which I'm standing in, is doing, we also try to make learning content more accessible to everyone. So in a way, we are trying to both build content for this module as well as build content that is for the wider community. So we'll make use of this content, and note that since I'm doing this as part of during my teaching here, the content is very aligned to exactly what I intended to deliver as your learning content in this module. All right. So every week we will try to have one part of that. And back to here. So other than our own recorded videos, I will try to involve other people around this lab as well. All right. It's also other videos from other content creators or teachers / content creators on YouTube, and perhaps other video platforms, because there's so much good content on building VR AR apps out there that we shouldn't just recreate. We shouldn't even be recreating anything, which is also one of the ethos of research. Me being a researcher, I mean, I certainly want to build on other people's good work. All right, so this will also be part of what you should be looking at. Okay, not just our videos, but also other people's videos. Also, papers, most of which are academic papers. Why I put academic papers rather than just any online articles. Okay, before the online articles. Online articles also may be part of the things that you have to read, but more so academic papers, because they are peer. At least we know 3 or 4 other people have read the papers for them to be published. So they are certainly more validated to be good publications. All right. Okay. Coding exercises. Sorry for the spelling error there. All right. And so on. Okay. So really, it is just a mix of stuff that you should do before the class. This mix of stuff, I also understand that, sometimes when we convert things into flipped classrooms, especially when I first started myself doing this as well, is that we forget that students need time to go through the material. Although there is expected time for you to also do it, beyond the stipulated class hours, as you can also see in the Slack post, right? Assignment and projects. The expectation is this: for students to spend, your own 5 to 7 hours. I know these are all like super arbitrary, and sort of numbers are placed there mostly for the fact that we want to account for everybody's planning for students' hours spent. So, but what I was trying to say is that yes, you're expected to spend your own time, obviously, okay, doing both the programming assignments as well as looking at the class content. Okay, but just saying that since we do this as flipped classroom, I also dedicated the first some time of the first half, roughly first half of this stipulated hours, lecture hours, lectorial hours, for you to go through the exercises. All right, but just saying that depending on what is in that week, right, you may not be able to complete everything that is given to you, but I do take note of that time where you need to spend to do that. All right, so that's the first part of the thing. You are supposed to work through them yourself, And I do find that this is much better for myself as well. Sometimes I look at, MOOCs online. I like to look at it in 1.5 times or 2 times. If the person is speaking clearly, I think I can even go 2 times and still absorb the material. So that's what I like to do. Note that we also, did I mention something else? Okay, never mind. That what I wanted to mention is mentioned in another place later lah. So I'll not like repeat stuff. But anyway, that's part 1, and part 2. We were expected to come online here. Okay, for today, yes, entire thing is online live stream. But next week onwards, you only come when I give you the timing. You only come during the timing where I give lah, which is normally 1.5 hours after it starts. That means 3:30, correct. All right. So we'll try 3:30 next week and see, how much time we spend in the live time, okay? And then we can tweak from there lah. Once again, this is the very inaugural first run of this module. So many things will change, and I do ask for your patience in tweaking this module with us. Okay. So this second part, as you guys know from the last time in data structures, right? I like to do a lot of this quiz. So most of the second part would be structured using the quizzes to revise and focus on all the things that I hope you can take away from that week's class lah. All right. The other thing that I just mentioned briefly just now as well, that there's an opportunity to do this. Okay, bonus 1 mark if you can be top scorer twice. Okay, so there is this incentive. Although again, it's it's not a easy feat. Okay, but still, there's a possibility if you go through the content beforehand in fair detail, then you stand a chance, right? Okay. So that's for lectorials. Again, any questions? I guess you all know lah. You can just post. Try to post either in Zoom or Slack, okay? Because I am not looking at YouTube, okay? Let me just quickly look at, what's happening. Maybe what's my link? Let me go to that live link. So many clicks. Okay, I should have just clicked the link in Slack. All right. Yes, nobody should say something here. Okay. I mean, if you want to, if you have no other means to communicate, certainly you can use the chat here. But please, as far as possible, try and maintain your messages either on Slack or in Zoom. Okay. So any questions, please ask. Otherwise, I assume that I'm super clear. Yes, I got a few more things to go through before we actually start any content related to developing immersive applications. So yes, that is... Hey, I closed that, sorry. I think there's still some more things on this page which I need to highlight. Yes, so that was lectorial. Then, I sort of structured the lab part of things in a not too conventional way again. Yeah, if you haven't realized, everything that I do is not very conventional. Okay, but I ask for your feedback for anything that I try that doesn't work well for your learning. Do let us know. Okay, consultation, or rather the lab lah. In your schedule, right? I think what you see is just labs. So every week there's a 2-hour lab on Thursday. Let me just quickly check that I'm saying the right things. Okay. Yes, Thursday 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Okay. In your schedule, it's scheduled in there that every Thursday that timing is supposed to be lab. Okay, but we will only meet physically every other week. Okay. So originally it was just every other week we meet in the lab, in the big lab, Pascal lab. Okay. And then we will, try and help whatever you are trying to do, whether it's there's only 2 big tasks in terms of practical work that you have to do. which I will come to like back in here. Actually, I should just talk about it now. Assessment. The two big tasks that I'm talking about is this IPA. I don't want to give acronyms out, so let's just keep it as individual programming assignment. Okay, 35%, slightly more than your team project, 30%. I know you see team project, you may be, wow, okay, why we have such a big two different things that we need to do. So later when we get to describing what exactly the team project is, you will realize that this is not really as big a implementation task as you think, because I know all of you are wary that you have your own game project. Sorry, it's not called game projects now, it's called software engineering project, right? Okay, so I'm totally cognizant of the fact that you have that big software engineering project on alongside your modules. I'm not trying to create yet another big project for you. Okay, so which is also why this is 30% and not like 50%, right? Okay, so this is 30% of the module, and the focus is really on, you know, evaluating your app, putting together everybody's work, and focusing on the essential immersion aspects of your app. Okay, the details I will describe later when we have time. Okay, but what I'm saying is that yes, these two are the practical things that you have to do, and the labs are meant to help, you know, or guide you to do those two things. All right. And how we do this is every other week we'll meet physically, and those weeks which we are not meeting physically, we will meet online. Okay, so I hope that is clear enough. Okay, so it's the same timing, 11 to 1 p.m. On Thursdays, but this week is online. Next week is off. Next week is face to face. The week after is online, and so on. Okay, so we'll just keep doing that. I see value in both online and face to face now. All right, without delving into the details. Okay, like for example, online you guys can share screen, go into a Zoom meeting, or on Slack, right? Whenever I start a new module or a new workspace, there's this huddle feature which we can use for the duration of the trial. Okay, don't worry, after the trial, the module will be over. If you have materials that you need to download, please download or copy and paste from here. But beyond the module, after the module ends, right, we will not go and pay money to maintain this space. Just take note of that. Okay, but during the duration of the trial is enough for us to use all the features over here. After the trial, the channel will still be around, but most of the posts would be gone. Okay, the pin posts will be there, the files will be there, but other stuff would be just deleted, or rather archived by Slack until you pay for it. Okay, what I was saying is that yes, there's value in just going onto a huddle and sharing your screen, and then we can just look in detail about what your problems are. Okay, sometimes it's better than face to face, and some people prefer that rather than face to face. Okay, so that's how we will try things, and then certainly I would ask for your feedback on both these types of sessions and whether it works better if it's always face to face and so on. Okay, then we will adjust. Okay, so I'll pause a bit to take some questions, or rather, there's only one question. Thanks, Ryan, for always asking on behalf of your friends. One big assignment that lasts throughout this module. Yes, it is one big assignment with multiple parts you have to fulfill. Okay, it's all the parts are all building one thing. Okay, and it's also one project. So that's all to it. Okay. Unity? No. Yongli is asking Unity. I wouldn't say flat out no, okay, but the project which we will explain soon is aligned with an actual research project work, which is delivering web-based XR content. So Unity certainly you can deploy to the web, but just be wary that our requirements sort of need you to touch the JavaScript code as well, okay? So, yes, web-based, correct. Yoshitomo. Anyway, I'll describe more in terms of the project later, all right? So let's come back to what I was trying to describe in terms of the structure of the learning. Okay, I think that's all. I missed the quizzes, right? This is the usual stuff. 35%. So you can see individual stuff certainly holds much more weight here. I'm not trying, again, because students are always wary that we are converting modules into projects as well, but we are not. Okay, the individual component is like 70%. Okay, the team component is 30%. Even within the team component, we will have peer review. Okay. Sri is asking, can we use TypeScript? Yes. Yeah. In fact, I think for the framework that we are using, it primarily uses TypeScript. And if you have to know now, yeah, we are sort of giving examples through Babylon JS, which is not what we are advocating you to have to use, okay, but we're just saying that for demonstration purposes, sorry, we are using Babylon JS. Other questions? Okay, I may have underestimated my time allocation for this again, but I think it's essential for us to understand how we are going to learn, right? The content is just one thing, but I think more importantly is you actually approach the learning in the right manner. Just going to click and see what screenshot. Okay, so screenshot of hopefully proves that you are watching that YouTube video lah. So yes, only if you really cannot access this. I'm not sure why. Maybe Kawe, you want to tell me what is your issue when you see when you hear me saying this with your YouTube lag? Okay, what is your issue as accessing it through Zoom? Okay. All right. Other questions? How big are the lab project again? Okay, for project questions, I will defer it to a bit later. Okay. So, did I cover everything here? Yes. Okay. And in any case, read this again if you missed any part of what I was describing here, or you went to the toilet or something. Okay. Otherwise, it's just for me to describe how we're going to do the learning activities. The schedule, just the titles of what is happening every week is in this post over here. Okay. Not much of info, but I think every time, even for me, I want to click and know from all the things that are in my schedule, all the things I have to do, what are all the key deadlines, right? The deadlines are all in the week underneath here. Okay. The programming assignment, there are I split it into two parts, to submit. Okay, but in the end, we will only assess you at this point, all right. But here is more of a formative assessment for us to see that you have progress, okay, and give you feedback on what your progress is. Note that this is individual. I think this is gonna kill us in terms of marking, but I do find that it is essential for us to know that you all have gained some of these skills individually and not, take the easy way out and assess everything as a team. Okay, so that's how we will do that. Note again, this page primarily is for, looking at the deadlines. I know. Okay, week 4, please show us what you have done. Week 9, you have to submit everything already. Beyond week 9 is the team project things. Again, the team project is not in my perspective, a huge development task. Okay, so even if you started here, right, you end your individual programming thing, you started here and worked on your team project. At least, from my planning perspective, I know in reality this is all quite different now. Okay, and then you started here with the remaining 4 weeks, right? You would still be able to accomplish what is required in the team project. At least that is what I've planned for. Okay. Team size, just quickly, Brandon was asking 6 to 7 people in a team. Okay. All right. Schedule. That's the schedule. So other things in the schedule is the quiz, the plan quiz. Things are all dynamic. I need to remind everybody once again. The quiz is big here. Okay, so you can see these two things. There's a set of FAQs. As usual, I put out this so that, when you the key structure of how we are learning in here are all answered in here. Okay, as I've mentioned, each week channel would contain the contents for that week, so treat it as a folder or a tagging tool. Okay, lectorial, you see on top here. If you cannot find, it's always here. It's always the same private, my personal ID link, so that it makes things a bit simpler. Okay. The face-to-face session, I believe, is scheduled in, wherever you access your schedule from. Okay, the lab sessions. I actually have it here. Sorry. Sorry. Let me know if this is wrong or updated. Okay, the last time I heard it is in Pascal. I don't think this will change because from the size of the size of the class, we sort of need that room. Okay, so it's in Pascal, the face-to-face sessions. Online sessions, the other weeks of the lab hours that is not face-to-face, we will just do it in Slack. Okay, so I will leave it more of from your initiative to ask us, okay, to help you on whatever issues you would have. So for my part, I will just jump around your group channels, okay, and see if you have any issues in there. I know for the huge part of the first half, you are not doing really group work, okay, but you are certainly encouraged to get into groups early on. As part of your task to form the groups, you should create a group channel, your group channel, and add us in there, which are all stipulated in instructions, which I haven't released. Okay, behind the scenes, yeah, there's nothing much here, okay. This is me with Indra and Songjia to discuss stuff before we release things now. Like this one is unreleased because we still have some things to iron out before we release to you. So later, if I have time, I would run through this as well. But I think I may not have time. Okay. But anyway, we will release this as soon as we I have everybody proofread whatever we are trying to have you do. Okay. I was just pointing to this because I was talking about forming your teams, right? So what my intention is for you guys to form the teams by week 3. Okay. The assignments, right? Just to remind everybody, the individual programming assignment, they are all individual. So you can certainly work in your groups for the individual programming assignment, but in the end, you shouldn't be, coding together and doing different parts of your submission. Your friend do part B, you do part A, and then you combine the submission for individual. So certainly that shouldn't be the case. All right, your individual programming assignment is still individually completed things. I'm just saying that you can work in your teams to sort of discuss how to do things, but every one of your submissions should be unique, and we have planned for it to be so. Okay, it's very hard for you to deliver the same thing from the way how we plan for you to implement the requirements. Okay. Some questions. Thanks for helping to answer, Yoshitomo. We'll look at alternate week. Yeah, okay. So not so much of an issue for me to answer there. Just running through the rest of this. Maybe I shouldn't be running through so detailedly since I've spent a lot of time here already. But let's see. Quiz, you have done this before, lockdown browser. Everything else is in Slack, okay? Again, if your friends are not on Slack yet, please help me. Yeah, I see most of you are here, okay, but still missing some. Okay. Maybe I should highlight this. If you have questions regarding the content or with assignments that you want to ask, right? Of course, you should do it, as much as possible. If you really need to find help, which you should if you can't solve it by yourself, all right, it would be nice if you do it in a public channel. I'm not creating more channels for assignments and stuff because I find that the general chat, there's just nothing much in the general to chat about lah. So let's just use the general chat for discussing any of the content regarding your learning. All right, until we find a necessity, then we create more channels. All right. Okay, so as far as possible, try to post your questions in the public general channel so that everybody can benefit. Otherwise, if you need to PM or DM us, certainly do so as well. In person, we are always around. If you need to know, this lab that you see over here is on level 4. I think most of you would have realized it's called the Center for Immersification. It's the logo on that door that you see over there. If you pass by, you can peep in the window, which this table is staring right at as well. Okay. Yes. So you can also, but please don't just barge in lah. You can't barge in anyway because it's controlled by the card, right? So, but what I'm trying to say is that please arrange for time. Okay, if you need to meet us face to face. Okay, talking about who is involved in the module. Maybe we talk about that. I have a slide for that. So if I go through the rest of the things here, which I wanted to highlight is that, of course, everything with regards to good coding practices still applies. Okay, we will still look at that, okay, to give us an impression of how good your quality of the submission is. But we certainly will not, try and check boxes of, okay, are you using Doxygen? Do you have author word in your header and so on? So we are not going down to that detail. We're leaving it up to you, but certainly it's obvious if you don't have any consistency in your documentation, and it's also obvious if you don't have any documentation for all your function and class headers at all. That would certainly be a red flag that we will, pull down your grades because of how you have not, been good using good coding practices. Okay, last point, which is probably obvious now. You can use anything, all right, to do your development. Okay, let's come back here. I am supposed to give a break every 45 seconds, but I forgot to on my timer. But I see that it's probably a good time for a 5 minutes break. So let us just go for a quick 5 minutes break. And I even have set up a rest time. Yes. So watch that timer. So we'll come back in 5 minutes and continue with the rest of that. I should probably mute myself in case I say things I'm not supposed to stream. Okay, see you guys soon.
It's
I actually did not put registered.
no. Did you set it up?
I
So
did.
it's,
I thought I did. So, but anyway, I'll just change it.
but there's not many. There's not too many people on Zoom.
Yeah.
I'm trying to count. And
I mean, it says 133.
oh, is it? I'm trying to go just to the list.
Okay. So Zoom interface actually has the total.
Oh, right, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do you live?
In the east.
Oh,
Yeah. YouTube. Okay. I Signa.
Signal. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a little further. Upper Changi.
Oh, that's all the way to the east.
But it's easy though. The green line is.
Okay. Okay. Good.
But
But
my
do you have office?
We do, but we I mostly work. Most of my team are in Vietnam and Indonesia. So.
Okay.
Do you have a lot of people working for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's already quite a space.
Got a lot of toys. I see.
Antiques we don't even use. Okay, let me get back to.
How do you want to do business?
Oh, you can come here. So- Okay, I think we should start again. Wow, this Zoom interface is always in the way. Okay, let me just click. All right, so back to the slides. So those are the things that I've just mentioned. Learning outcomes, the assessment components. Not in detail, but I will leave that if I have time. In any case, we have a virtual lab this week as well, so I can make use of that time to explain a bit more about the projects if we run out of time today. All right. Let me just move on. Okay, this is just to remind myself, to remind all of us, all of you, that this is the first run, which I've mentioned so many times. So yes, expect changes. It will change, all right, depending on. So I'll try to get feedback as far as possible. But if I, don't find the time to, put out a form to ask for your feedback, just tell me if you find anything is wrong, which I think a lot of you are already doing. So thanks for that. Learning content. Yeah, this point over here to say that, the reason why I'm a bit unorthodox, because I find that many of the content that we want to teach, I mean, I'm not talking for any other modules, but at least for this module, right? There's a lot of good free content that are pretty comprehensive. Even if you just, I think I've also placed this in the module profile as well. You look at, for example, Coursera. Intro VR. There's quite a large series of things by Sylvia Pan, all right, from Goldsmiths, University of London, which is pretty good. I mean, I've watched most of the stuff here, okay, but I mean, it's not really the same kind of learning objectives as what we want from this single module over here, but there's this long series of various virtual reality specialization modules which you can see. And then another good one which I found, which I've also linked in your module profile as well, is Stanford's VR module class. Okay, I'm not sure what's the best search term here, but this one. Okay, this one goes into I mean it is also a one semester kind of a thing. It goes into more detail in terms of computer graphics. All right, there's like 3 classes in the rendering pipeline side of things. Okay, so if you're interested in that, the slides are freely accessible, so you can also look at the stuff over here. Okay, just saying that, yeah, good material can be accessed pretty easily. Other than that, of course, these are like module structured module content. Okay, on YouTube itself, you just search for the VR development. You can probably, I'm using the word VR and not other terms because VR just has the most amount of content that sorry, this is my own channel. Okay, YouTube. Yeah. Sorry, why did I paste the word laptop in there? You can find a lot of good content. I know everybody knows how to, look at what content to see first. The only problem is, yes, which one do I find? So I think one of our role here is really to help you align some of this content, curate some of this content in a manner that aligns with what we want to do as part of your broader degree program that you are doing here with DigiPen and with SIT's collaboration. Okay, so yes, that's what I wanted to remind myself to say, that our role is really to facilitate your learning. I don't like to use the word teach or teacher, but this whole thing that you're doing here is your own responsibility to learn stuff, and we are facilitating your learning. So just to put forth my perspective here of our roles here, all right? We're not, trying to deliver content to you, but trying to facilitate the right structure for you to learn properly. I hope that that message is clear. Okay, so who are we? I think I have given my introduction previously, but in case you forgot, right? Quick place to find who I am is, of course, you can just Google my full name, and I believe the first few links, are all the official things that you can see about me. Okay, the website that has my name with a number in there. I know it looks a bit like a scam website, but yeah, I couldn't resist the temptation to get this domain name because it's just so short. All right, you can have a look about some of the things that which I have done before SIT. Okay, after SIT, I did not update this page much, as you can see here. All right, I only updated the about page, so this is pretty much what you should look at from this page. But it's just a page to consolidate what I've done in the past. For current stuff, mostly is consolidated into the stuff that I do as part of the center. So if you look at the Center for Immersification page, you can find more current things that I'm doing here. So yes, I'm both, educator role here as well as a researcher. And I think both of them complement each other pretty well. I create knowledge through my research and then try and weave it into the modules that I teach, which is also what we are trying to do here. The particular domain that I specialize in is human-computer interaction, okay? And the applied domain is in immersive technologies. We also have Meg, somewhat involved in a very light manner, okay? So I think maybe some of you know her. She was a DigiPen student, but now she's doing, she's now a research, not research, sorry, associate, or what do they call it at NVIDIA? I don't think she has it here, but basically a software engineer at NVIDIA. So she, at the same time, she's also a PhD student under our center. Okay, so she will also help to deliver at least one of the lecture based on what her role is. And her role is pretty much extremely related to what we're teaching here. If you haven't heard of this thing, okay, it's called Omniverse, okay, which is a new tool, or not new-ish, not that new anymore, okay, that claims or aims to build digital twins, all right, and very well aligned with what everybody's trying to do in this XR space. Okay, so we'll have her involved in our facilitation work for you guys as well. Okay, and next is Song Jia, who is sitting over there. If I can just kindly ask Song Jia to come and you do your own introduction. Song Jia. Yeah. So, Song Jia is also a PhD candidate with the center and also working as a research engineer.
Okay, hi everyone.
Mike is here.
I'm Mikey here. So I'm so glad to be the part of the new module and be here to help you with your applications. So yeah, so excited. We try to deliver a smooth and fun learning experience, and we do hope you guys will enjoy the new XR module. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. So Song Jia, I think his XR author project will be the premise for your individual programming assignments as well as the project. So he will, be seeing all of you quite a lot during the course of this entire trimester. So please make use of his knowledge as much as possible. So, and the next person that we have as part of our teaching team, who so happen is also here. Thanks Indra for making time from your busy schedule to come and join us today for this introduction. All right, so if I can just ask you to also introduce yourself. Yes. Sure. Yeah, Indra.
Thanks, Dr. Jack. Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Indra, and then as you know, we all been in your shoes before. I actually have a different path. I instead of I did my undergraduate technically in the US, and then after that I got to get my MBA all in the US. So you can see in my LinkedIn profile, and at the moment I also running kind of like a startup, and one thing that I like to tell you guys is this is a really good class. This is a good opportunity. As you know, VR immersive experience is something new, and your generation, which is we call it Gen Z, right? There's a lot of opportunity out there. Earlier in the questionnaire by Dr. Jack, I saw some of your goals are to get a good grade. Yes, that's fine. And some of you want to make money, which is also fine. You have to realize that this is you are the pioneer on this. So there's a lot of opportunity for you. And then, like any other technology, right? You can combine what you learn here and apply it to whatever you like to do. Even if you like to sell something, this technology will be useful for you. So hopefully you gain quite a bit of knowledge, and then you can use that as a potential leader in the future. Or if you want to be technical, and then if you want to be very into this, this is a good chance. You're in the right timing. And this is our first class, as you know. All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Indra. So as you can see, we try to have a team of people here, not just me, so that we have a diversity of different ways to facilitate your learning, both from me as an academic, Song Jia as a more dedicated researcher and engineer, as well as Indra, from his industry expertise and experience. Hopefully, this provides a good platform for your learning. or rather this provides a good environment, all right, to help you learn. So we'll try, our best to do that, I think, but in the end, the main responsibility still lies on you, all right, to make full use of what we are trying to do here. But once again, the thing is that, the content here is, I don't want to preempt stuff, but maybe from your perspective, I was almost going to, influence your thinking here, but I saw that I actually have this slide, which I asked of you to rank, what is the most useful for learning. Okay, so please do that. I actually have not looked at how this slide works. There's no interaction here, but I hope that you can actually do something. Oh, okay, there's a timing. Oh, there's no timing. Okay, so it just keeps updating. Sorry, first time looking at this ranking slide as well. All right, so yes, please, in your own perspective, tell us what is the most important thing that you feel from whatever that I've mentioned here in terms of all the learning components that we plan to do, which may change. Okay, yes, so please continue to rank. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't show live updates if I had found the setting. Okay, because it may influence your ranking. But yeah, I trust that you have your own perspectives. And actually, you cannot see the results before you rank, right? I'm not sure. Let me know if that's the way how this ranking slide works. Okay, maybe just 30 more seconds, because it looks pretty stable now in terms of what is the rank of different things. Maybe the last two items still can fight it out. Okay. Okay, let me just check on something. Okay, I was just trying to find my Zoom interface. It's always going missing. Okay. All right. So yes, I think I'm not sure whether I have influenced your response here, but yes, in my perspective, I sort of have similar thoughts as what everybody has ranked over here. All 84 of you. Thanks for participating again. That the actual content that you sort of consume, right? The curated stuff, as much as we spend time to do it, and we actually spend a lot of time. I mean, the first video took me, more than a week to write the script and everything, and then in the end, it is like 30 minutes, right? We do spend a lot of time trying to record the lectures as well as find stuff that is related to what we intend for you to learn in that week. But the value of that is not as much as the other things that you all have ranked higher here. So we are with the same perspective. One-time investment, Yongli. Actually, no, not true. So yeah, Yongli says that my recording only one-time investment. Actually, other than the fact that things will change very quickly in any ICT field, I also find that this is my first recording, and it's not done to the best of what I aim to include. So, and again, it's all relative to how much time I have left, right? So with the time I have, I certainly have tried to include as much as possible. Okay, but just saying that definitely the next time I run this, it will change. So it's not really a one-time effort. What was I trying to say? Yes, back to this. But I'm glad that, whether influenced by what I said previously or not, that you actually rank the other stuff as higher value. Authentic projects, yes, to apply your knowledge. So when you actually try and do something with what you have consumed, then you would understand it best and know how to recreate stuff, in your own way. Structured assessments. This one, well, yeah, it's good for alignment lah. But for me, I wouldn't rank it, that high. But again, I understand that you guys are there's a stake, there's a high stake for you to not jeopardize your GPA, right? So in the end, the whole degree that people still look at that thing. So certainly, I totally understand the assessments. But the key thing I wanted to express here is that the main focus is, other than knowing that you need to score well, know that the assessments are structured in a way to align, the important things that we want you to gain out of it. Okay, discussions, interactions, yes, all should be, part of your learning experience here. Okay, this is just related to the last slide lah. Since the first point here aligns with the first point, that the highest ranked thing over here, authentic projects, right? Okay, seize the opportunity to create stuff. Although the project, as you will soon realize when I describe it, is related to an actual project work in our research center here. Still, there is room for you to do your own stuff and put it as part of a portfolio. Okay, so that's what you should seize the opportunity for. Okay. Translating design to code, and not the code itself. Yeah. So again, the particular theme or premise that we have for your project for your assignment constrains you to a certain set of tools, a stack that you have to use, as well as a certain group of languages, programming languages and tools that you can only use. Okay, but that is not the focus here. The focus should be to translate your design into whatever code you are trying to do, right? I think I have this window open up over here. Let me just refresh this. We know that the details of many things can be gotten over here, right? You can ask ChatGPT to do stuff that maybe we ask you to do, some code to put together, two cubes into a container in AR. Okay, so this is totally, I did not pre-plan for this statement. Okay, it's totally what I'm thinking of right now. Okay, so I've tried this fair amount. For our purposes, normally a direct cut and paste wouldn't work, but it gives you a good gist of what you should be, looking at. But I'm just trying to use this example to show that, firstly, you have no excuse to say, I've never learned JavaScript before. Okay. And you have also no excuse to say, I've never touched web programming before. I mean, there's some excuse there, but certainly less of an excuse now that you have such powerful tools at hand. Okay. So please make use of this. I'm not trying to, like some others trying to tell you to avoid, using such AI tools. I think it's good to help us start, to get us in the ballpark. I think that's a good way to say it. Get us in the ballpark of, knowing what to do, right? Given whether it's a technical task or artistic task. Okay, so make use of these things. If you are totally, new to web programming, I think you should make very full use of ChatGPT and maybe GitHub Copilot. If you have an account, okay, you can use all these things to help you with actually, generating the syntactical code that's needed. Okay. But really, that's not the main point of what you should get out of here. The main point is how you can translate, whatever you want to achieve in terms of immersive interactions into, not just interaction, but immersive experiences into a code that other people can interact with. Okay. Speaking of interact, yes, please interact with us. Yeah, I think that's one of the key things that you get out of a structured module, right? If you are just looking at YouTube videos, this is the thing that will be lacking. And you should exploit this since you are in a structured module as part of a degree here. Okay. Motivation, I also put in this point because I find that if you are in the right mindset to learn about things, like for example, you have a goal of creating some of your own, prototype thing that you want to show your mom, not show mom, but maybe create your own company and so on, then you will find that learning becomes much more easier. If you're nothing, in this space, I know this is a compulsory module. None of you chose this module as an elective or anything. Okay, so some of you may have no incentive to learn about AR, VR, XR at all, right? But I'm just saying that even if you have no incentive beginning now, you should find some incentive. Otherwise, you would have a hard time. Okay, like create your own project. Some specific thing that you want to do in AR on your phone, whether it's just to show off to somebody, or really to put it as part of your portfolio and so on. Okay. Some more notes on just now that question. I know some of you may be asking, what are the notes I can use to help me revise, especially during quizzes? I'm sorry that the answer is no notes. Okay, so there's no such thing here as lecture notes. I've mentioned this a couple of times already, that the learning is just a curated bunch of stuff, which really you can even do it yourself. Okay, but we just save some time for you here, okay? And with our combined, consolidated experience, hopefully there's some value in the stuff that we curate for you, including the stuff that we uniquely created or recorded in terms of the videos. Okay. All the content, you can access it through the Slack or the show notes. Okay. There's also a podcast of the same video. Okay, because actually, for me, often when I'm watching YouTube, I feel that I'm wasting time. So I just want to do something else. Okay. So most of the time I switch on the YouTube just to listen to what the people are saying. So the kinds of videos that I choose normally, has associated podcasts with it. And similarly, because of my own inclination, I think I also try to create a video such that even if you were just listening to the audio, you can still gain a substantial amount of knowledge. And if you are wondering what I was talking about, you can also look at the video. The ideal case is you look at, for our own recorded videos, the ideal case is that you look at the videos because there's some visuals that we put in there. But just saying that even if you chose to, wash the dishes like I do, and listen to the content, you can also do it. And it may save you some time if you are, having that kind of a style of learning. Okay, so that's what the other efforts that we are doing to help you structure your own preferred way of learning as well. Okay. In the end, we can only do so much. You still have to consume. You still have to look through the stuff that we give you, okay, as much as possible, understand what is in there and apply it. Otherwise, there's still no learning is happening. Oh, this is just a picture to frame the thoughts here that I'm not a big fan of traditional lectures. Why am I showing this picture? So yes, now finally we go into the actual content of the class that I meant to deliver today as an introductory session for the actual introduction to VR things. Recently, we had this conference called ISMA, which is, a conference, as you can see the abbreviation here, International Symposium, Mixed and Augmented Reality. It is actually the biggest conference that for academics, there's some industry involvement, but primarily academics, to look at what are the most advanced stuff in this space. Okay, and coincidentally, this year it was organized by our and your program director, okay, or program leader, sorry, that's what it's called right now. Frank is the general chair for this conference. And the reason why I'm putting this here is because, I used some of the stuff in the latest conference as well. As I mentioned, since I have a dual role of a researcher and a academic, I do try and incorporate the latest content in there. So this is Henry Fuchs, who is one of the forefathers of XR. I mean, we can say VR because initially it started all with VR. If you're interested, you can look at his work, and we, fortunately got a picture of him because he's a pretty hot person in the conference. And the middle person over here is Meg, since she couldn't be on Zoom due to her meeting at her company. So I just thought that I would place this picture over here. Also an opportunity to say that, yeah, I use some of the videos in here, especially the history one. Henry gave a talk that described some of the history. So some of the content was actually also from his talk. Okay, the rest of, this whole history part of things is sort of like a watch together or reaction video thing, okay? So we'll just watch some of this stuff together, all right? And then I'll give some commentary. Normally, when we talk about history of XR, right? I'll just turn down the volume here. Yeah, this is the first thing, although there are some things that came before it, but mostly are not real. Some of them are fictional and in movies, but this is probably, Sensorama is probably the first one to actually build something that has a notion of what we know as VR nowadays. Okay, it's pretty complex. As you can see in here, it is a very complex setup, which includes putting your face in this thing, and then having some, like if you have been to Disney or USS, Universal Studios, there's this 4D shows, right, that, spurts out things like gases for smell and, water if it's raining and so on. It's just in the same way Sensorama was such a thing that provides some, or rather it sprays out some fumes to let you feel like you are on the road. Okay, so I'm not sure whether it is real, hazardous fumes. I don't think so, but it just makes that whole experience transporting you to another kind of place, kind of a system. Okay, so that was the first one, Sensorama. Okay. Oops, I'm not supposed to go to the next slide. Yes. Then this one is arguably more famous than the last one. Most of the time, if you search for history, this one, or not most of the time, I think half of the time, half of the results that you will see quotes this as the very first VR thing. Okay, because it was done by Ivan Sutherland, who is quite a famous forefather of VR research, okay, who created this system. As you can see, these are some of his other projects. Quite an amazing person, especially in that era when robotics and just graphics in itself, it's still in its very early infancy. Even this screen over here, which is one of the first things that allow you to model graphics on a digital device, is also pretty primitive, but it was back then. Think about it, it's actually not too far away, but things in ICT just advances pretty quickly. Okay, so this stuff is just showing a background of who he is, but really what he created was this thing. Okay, he did not say that the system was called the Sword of Damocles, okay, but this is what everybody refers to this project as. Why is it known as this name? Because if you look at how it looks like, right, yeah, and from this drawing that I've tried to recreate over here, sorry, let me just open up the slide again, is that you are wearing this contraption of sorts with this thing dangling over your head, and this sword of Damocles is an ancient story of somebody sitting in the king's seat feels like you are having a sword dangling over your head because of the responsibility that you play as a king. So at any point of time, the sword will fall down. So yeah, so that was how this first VR was being set up. It's not too much different from the current things that we see right now. As you can see in the paused screenshot over here, the whole sword contraption is actually a couple of sensors. And actually, if you look at at the back over here, that sensor, those sensors over there. I can take this out. Let me just try this. This is my iPhone. I will just switch on my iPhone's microphone. I think that's still here, right? Indra, can you still hear if I talk? Can you still hear through the video? Well, let me know. But I'm just trying to show you now that if you cannot hear, I think that mic may pick up some of my voice. Anyway, let me just go and check. Can you hear not? Yes, okay, thanks. Okay, just tell me that yes, I can hear through. I know it's much lower quality audio, but this is through my mic. I'm just trying to show you that modern day sensors like this lighthouse set up over here is also not very much different. And even though we have this stands, we still try to hang stuff like the way how it did it like 1968. Alright. So we can see that things have not really advanced super a lot. In terms of the hardware setup is still similar concept, okay, but probably done using much higher quality hardware. All right. Let me just switch back to whatever that I was just trying to show. Okay. So this is in a lot of history timelines, one of the first VR devices. Okay. Okay, next we have something that's called the iPhone, but it's not the same iPhone that we. Oh, sorry, I didn't mute my iPhone. Okay, so let me mute that. Otherwise, we have double audio. So this guy, Jaron Lanier, also famous. If you have been studying or researching in VR, but otherwise, I don't think you would have heard of his name. But also, like quite some time ago, he already created these devices that look a bit similar to what we have here. Okay, so let's just watch a bit of what he's saying.
Developed a number of wearable human-computer interaction-focused peripherals. The Data Glove was the first of these, but was expanded upon during the early days of VPL. While maintaining the optical flex sensors within the glove, Lanier and Zimmerman also made the addition of magnetic positional tracking sensors,
y'all can
which
hear
helped
the video,
device
right?
work better with the next major peripheral.
Well, this is our virtual reality glove. It's called the Data Glove.
Yeah, if you can hear the video, let me know. I just tuned down the volume, but now I'm upping the volume again. Thanks for all your responses.
In the world as if they're real. So it lets you reach into an imaginary world. And
The next peripheral would be a head-mounted display called the iPhone. As in, EYE phone, rather than the more well-known namesake around today, of course. This headset had limited specs. An 80-degree horizontal field of view, 320 by 240 resolution black and white LCD screens. It had various color filters overlaid on top of these, and also had built-in 6 degrees of freedom tracking. The iPhone.
Yeah, so I just tuned down the volume. You can see that all the things that you see in modern day VR goggles are actually already existing, in some of this very old stuff, including even the haptic glove that you see him wearing over here. It is still something that is, not even well done today. You don't even have a proper consumer. I mean, there are, but it's not like easily accessible things that you can buy off Amazon, right?
It's because of how human beings are at the center of all of its conception and the way it's designed. I think that's a very humanistic approach to designing technology, because in the future there'll be many cases where people are inside a virtual world and they want to design something in that virtual world. So the question is, how will they do it? And sometimes they might sculpt, sometimes they might build things out of pieces and put them together. But I think for a lot of things, they'll be using things that are like musical instruments that you play, because musical instruments are...
Okay, I think that's enough for this one, okay? Interestingly, it's called the iPhone, okay? Oops, why do I always close the wrong thing? Okay, the more interesting thing is, as what I've written here, right, is that many people associate the word virtual reality to Jaron Lanier, okay, who created this device. Okay, that was the birth of that term.
So this was the man to coin the term.
Okay, next we have a couple of things, in the space of more like amusement park or arcade center kind setups. This famous one, which was done by Sega. Okay, sorry for the language and the Japanese that is shown over there, which most of us don't understand. Yeah, I think nowadays we still see this very much in many of the big theme parks. I mean, similar type setups. So other than the fact that the graphics now is much better, I think again, the kinds of hardware, of course, again, the hardware is much better quality perhaps nowadays, but the idea, the whole architecture is still very much similar to what you're seeing here in the VR, Sega VR setup that you see in this video. So I will just skip forward a bit. And I just wanted to also, let me go back here. Highlight that I think this video sort of showcases the experiential side of things, what it really means by creating a VR experience. I don't believe that this lady actually fainted lah. I mean, it looks fake to me, but anyway. Anyway, yeah, it sort of highlights, especially in that era, what a VR, let me just tune down the volume, what a VR experience should be, in that it really transports, you to a different place, and you feel like you are there and then experiencing what is shown through the graphical interface. Although, you can see that the graphics in here is pretty bad, for lack of a better term, for people living in our era right now. Okay, the graphics is pretty bad, but still you can see the level of immersion. Maybe some of it is acted out, but I believe, I do believe that there is still a high level of immersion and presence, as you will learn soon in there. Okay, so this is Sega. That was the VR1 in Sega World. Okay. The rest of the stuff here is along the same lines of, this kind of VR goggle in arcade kind of a setting. So, 1990s, sort of, these few devices mark the extent of where VR is at. Yeah. Note that Sega VR, originally, they intended it for a consumer device, but it didn't sell well. As I've read, through whatever material that you can also read online. I'm not sure what the truth is, but that's at least what people are saying. Okay. But it really got popular when it was placed in an arcade like this. Okay, sorry for always clicking on the wrong things. Okay, another famous company, Nintendo, also did something in that era, 1990s. And this time it is marketed as a consumer, purchasable device.
Its own legs.
And sorry, I couldn't find a more, like real usage of this. This is like a promotional video just to show what the device looks like.
Virtual Boy. See it now in 3D.
Okay, it looks very much like, those slideshow devices. Okay, but it is, Nintendo's very early attempts at creating a VR device. Okay, it's touted as like the first portable stereoscopic 3D game console. Okay, so they sort of have that first mover kind of name to them, although they didn't really, continue with that line of work. Next, not a super, famous company name, but this is a device that I think is sort of ahead of its time. Interestingly, other than the fact that it has all the sensors that we are familiar with, that makes up a VR device nowadays, okay, the interesting thing is that the form factor is really small. It's smaller than what we see now. Although, I think a lot of it is tattered to a PC, okay? But even if we look at Oculus Rift tattered, or rather PC VR, that's the term for it. PC VR devices, they are also pretty bulky. Definitely is a different kind of a fidelity in terms of how much graphics that you can see using this smaller device. But again, just highlighting that even back then, it was pretty advanced. Okay, so this is one of the early devices which had all the latest stuff, hardware components in there. OLED, which now has become not a thing in VR anymore, which we will come to when we look at the optics as to why. Hi-Fi, that means good sound basically. Head tracking, 360 field of view. I'm not sure what this means. It doesn't really look like 360 field of view to me, or rather wide field of view to me. But we can see that it tries to cover more viewing angles, right? Okay. Okay, now for the hallmark of, or rather the defining device, why VR, sort of became a thing again.
My name is Paul Merlucky, and I'm a virtual reality enthusiast and the designer of the Rift. Games are something I'm really passionate about, and even more than playing games, I'm passionate about bringing games to the next level. What we're doing at Oculus is trying to create the world's best virtual reality headset designed very specifically for gaming. Where this all started was in my parents' garage in Long Beach, California. And I was interested in stereoscopic displays, I was interested in head mounts, and the problem was there was nothing that gave me the experience that I wanted, the matrix, where I can plug in and actually be in the game. And I was sure that somewhere out there was something that I could buy. And the reality is there's nothing. I set out to change that with the Oculus Rift.
Yeah, so note what he said there. As I mentioned, and as we know, when it was still called Oculus, this device sort of transformed the whole VR industry, right? That really, made VR become something significant again. So what, Palmer Lucky is saying is that he couldn't find any device out there that he can buy, as a consumer, that actually works well.
We're getting involved in Oculus now because we see an incredible opportunity here for game developers to experience something new. The Rift is taking years of virtual reality research and putting it into a package that everyone can use.
So I recently had a chance in person to check out the Oculus headset, and needless to say, I'm a believer. Even as a prototype, what I saw was extremely promising. We're extremely excited here at Epic Games to get the Unreal Engine integrated with Oculus, and I think the possibility...
Not looking at a screen anymore. You actually feel like you're inside of...
Yeah, I'll leave you to... I mean, it's an interesting video, and it's good to watch, you know, the entire thing, okay? But not that essential. But if you're interested to know the history of this very significant device, the Oculus Development Kit 1, please have a look at the rest of the video. Okay, but I'm forwarding to this part of the video because it actually shows a pretty good, you know, user-friendly description of what actually is a VR goggle.
And are very small, and the sensors that sense your head position and your turning in your virtual environment are also very low cost.
The reason we're using Kickstarter is so that we can get these dev kits into the hands of developers as fast as possible. That way they can try it for themselves and start integrating support into their games and engines. We really need developer feedback so that we can make the consumer version of this even more incredible than it already is.
I mean, Great SDK is simply about a great developer experience where they get a really functional piece.
Okay, so I will just stop this video over here. But again, I think it's a good you know, view. Rather, you should look at it. Now, here's one poll that I wanted to make, which is, can you guess the price? Again, no need to, it's live updated, but no need to be, you know, skewed by what your friends say. Okay, the price of the Oculus Rift Development Kit 1, which is the very first version of what is what we commonly see in terms of VR devices nowadays. Good. I see that most of you are just impromptu, you know, guessing what the cost is based on what you have seen, which is what the point of you know, this live session is. Okay, but of course, if you want to go and Google, by all means, you can do that as well. No, nothing is stopping you from doing that. But if you don't Google, it gives us a good sense of, you know, the perception of things. Yeah. So thanks for doing that. Playing the game fair. Okay. No lah. Actually, there's no real rules to the game. Okay. It's quite interesting distribution. Okay. Maybe I should just plot it into a graph. Okay. But even without the graph, we can see that there is a congregation. Or rather, there's no real congregation in any you know, sites of this plot over here, but there's certainly more people who chose, you know, 2,000 as a choice. Okay, there's also a lot of people who chose 500, 700, 1,500. Okay, so the two biggest amounts is 2,000 and 300. Or rather, the largest is actually 2,000, which sounds about fair, you know, given that era. And note that what Palmer Luckey mentioned, right? He couldn't buy something off the shelf that is, you know, cheap enough, that he would say. So actually, all the previous devices were pretty expensive, and actually, even not just expensive. You know, all the Imagine and iPhone and all those stuff. iPhone is more of a research project than anything, but it was packaged as a consumer thing. Even the Nintendo one, I believe, you know, all the prices were really out of hand for consumers first. And even if it was priced cheaply, you know, it just doesn't deliver the kinds of immersion that we would expect from a VR goggle. So DK1 was the first one that did that. So actually the real price, right, is 300 USD, of course. Yeah. We actually bought this. Me and Song Jia were in the same lab back in Sydney when we bought this DK1 device for our experiments. And you know, the reason why we bought it was because being very poor researchers at that time, it was cheap lah. So it was cheap and it works, as what we have heard. and when we bought it, it really works. I mean, when you put on the DK1 for the first time, and if you haven't used any VR goggle, it certainly surprises you in a good way, right? Although there's a lot of more cyber sickness induced in that era than not, but it's not a fault of that the designer. All right. It is in some ways a fault of the design, as we will learn in the next week or so. Okay, but I'm just saying that it was just early days. Okay, but the main thing is that it was so cheap. Okay, this is the second cheapest from my options here. Okay. Oops. And then comes something even cheaper. Google Cardboard. Okay, let's see what our good
What's up, guys? Lou
famous
here, back
YouTuber
with
has
another
to say.
video, and today we're going to be talking in depth about the Google Cardboard VR headset, or VR cardboard cutout that uses your phone to create a headset. Does that make any sense? Anyways, I recently made a reaction video in which I gave this contraption to a number of individuals who you might recognize.
Yeah, interestingly, I'm reacting to his reaction video.
Yet you should definitely go and check it out. But this one is dedicated to telling you and showing you how this seemingly boring piece of cardboard can turn your phone into a state-of-the-art virtual reality headset. So it all starts with this cutout.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that, notice the way how he describes this as something really spectacular. I mean, at that time, if you were, in this space, or rather you are trying to develop something in this space, yeah, indeed, this actually is also quite transformative, other than DK1, because it allowed you to use your phone as a device, as the powering device for VR headset, without spending much at all, right? But just pointing out that from the way that Unbox Therapy has mentioned it, given that he has looked at a lot, I mean, this is like one of the top YouTubers of all time, right? In terms of tech reviews, he has certainly seen a lot of stuff. Okay, even back at that time, 2004. Still, it is something that makes him say, it is a fantastic thing.
This one is dedicated to telling you and showing you how this seemingly boring piece of cardboard can turn your phone into a state-of-the-art virtual reality headset. So it all starts with this cutout, this cardboard cutout that you construct into what you see here. Now, you can actually make this on your own using plans via the Cardboard website, so you don't need to purchase one of these.
Yeah, so by the way, for students in this class, yes, I know this is like a cheap, old device. All of you can actually get one cardboard for free. I mean, it doesn't cost that much anyway from the center. So later I'll release, when I release the project, I'll give you the details of Haja, who will help to administer, one of the technical officers, our colleague, Haja, okay, who will administer the distribution of this. There is no need to return it, okay, obviously, for obvious reasons. Like, if you see, yeah, you can see that, the gunkiness or the oil stain on the cardboard. Okay, so we really don't want to retrieve back, something that is, has been stained with your oils. So please keep it. Okay, and you can loan it out only. I mean, you should loan it out only if you need it, lah. If you have like a Quest device on your own and you want to use that as your device, you should also just use that and no need to, draw one out from our store.
Becomes part of your head, and the consequence of that is that the accelerometer and gyro that exist in the phone already will do all of the head tracking necessary so that you can interact with your...
Okay, and if I pause here for a while, I also wanted to highlight that one of the reasons why we're giving the super basic thing like the cardboard is also for learning purposes. The screenshot that you see from here is actually a typical rendered image whether it is two LCD screens or just one, okay, it is a rendered image of what you would show on the screen in a in a head-mounted device or a VR headset, okay. And with the Google one or the Google Cardboard, you can actually appreciate, you know, the separate components. Your phone is actually, I don't have a phone here, but your phone is actually the display, okay, or the display and, you know, the system or the brains, the computational resource that churns out each frame of the display. And then the rest of the stuff, so that is actually any computer and any screen can actually show that. So really what makes a VR device VR is, you know, the whatever is in the cardboard, okay. And you can see this screenshot, it is rendered in a way that there's some distortion over here, because it is trying to counter the distortion that you see in the lens with the, you know, headset that I'm holding up here. All right. And really VR device is, you know, nothing more, or maybe a bit more than a magnifier, as what they say, okay. So it's really setting up a thing that can magnify stuff, okay, in the right manner, and, you know, with your rendering techniques to do away with the distortions that you see, because every lens, certainly it's a concave thing, a convex thing, okay. Through lights that are going through the lens will certainly be refracted, and, you know, there's some distortion. And so what you will learn over here is, one thing that you will learn over here, why I'm describing is because now I'm trying to come up with week 4's lecture, which is on this, the optics of how all of this works, okay, which is something unique that you will get out of the module as well. So do you know, understand it this way, then you will create stuff that you know, is more unique to you, okay. So Keith has a question, since I'm talking about issuing the cardboard. Yeah, so it's more of like our expectation is that you at the most have access to a cardboard because that's what we gave you, right? Just saying that we don't have expectations of you going beyond that. But if you go beyond the immersion that can be afforded by a cardboard, by all means you can do that as well. If you have a Quest 2, Quest Pro, or whatever, okay, you can also do it there. I mean, you can also decide to implement your system using that platform, okay. Just saying that if you do that, we are also not like trying to give you bonus points for targeting a much higher fidelity system, okay. So we are only expecting you to be able to target this, but if you want to target bigger things, we shouldn't use the word bigger, but higher fidelity devices, you can also do it, okay? So it doesn't need to be mobile based, okay? By the way, if you're doing using something like the Babylon JS tool, okay, you can also view it through the Quest browser. Of course, that being said, you know, every time they like Meta updates the browser, or even just your desktop updates the browser, there may be issues that pop up due to the very nature of web programming, because a lot of things are dependent on the browser vendors to do the right thing and not break our code, but normally they will not do that. It's the same, you know, even if you're developing on iOS or Android, when iOS updates, there may be things that are broken. So certainly we need to be adamant or cognizant of the fact that is part of our development process to cater for those things to happen. Okay. But again, you know, those things are not the main focus of what we are trying to do here, although we do expect that you are able to eventually deploy on a device, okay? But just saying that even if there are some, you know, minor bugs that are due to, you know, at a recent update of the browser, we are not too hard up about that, okay? Okay, back to the video.
Your environment and subsequently have that virtual reality experience. So this metal ring here has a corresponding magnet on the other side.
Also wanted to highlight, maybe going into too much details here, but since this video is showing how the button works in this older version of the cardboard specification. By the way, Google Cardboard is an open specification. If you look at yeah, you should probably be able to find from Google's own website how to rebuild everything and get the right kind of parts. Okay, so this is an open source specification which you can rebuild everything yourself, which is why you see a lot of different vendors coming up with different designs of the cardboard. The cardboard that you will be getting is in a way custom built for the Center of Digital Enablement. You will see Code's logo here, Center of Digital Enablement, which if you haven't realized or bumped into them, okay, they are SIT's, sorry, let me go into the right URL box. SIT's a big division to try and improve overall digital literacy for all SIT students and staff even. Okay, so they have kindly donated their VR cardboards, all a few hundreds of them to us for your usage. So yeah, your version will be that, and that version I believe is the same as what I'm holding here, in which the button, right, is not what you're seeing in the diagram anymore. The button, if you can see here, right, it's this thing on top, and if you look at it inside, if I click on the button, so-called, again in apostrophes, it pushes this hammer thing out with a felt. It's not a felt pad. I think it's called a metallic fabric or something. Okay, so that it mimics your capacitive touch on the screen. Yeah. So this is what you will get, and you are just expected to work with that kind of hardware that you have. Okay, we're not expecting more. Okay. Okay. I don't think we have to go through the rest of this video, but just saying that, yeah, this was also one of the key devices that were transforming the industry. Okay, they're making things more accessible to everyone. Okay, note that Cardboard SDK, I don't think it is well maintained anymore, but we don't really need Cardboard as SDK. Yeah, we are not trying to say that we are only letting you learn about XR through a certain platform or language or device. Okay, this is just a tool for us to learn broader things about what XR or immersive development is. Okay, last slide on this whole timeline thing. Okay, Samsung Gear is one of the similar things as the cardboard, but with much more expensive equipment that wraps around your phone. Google itself also has the Daydream, which is a similar device with more proprietary hardware that wraps around your phone, but essentially it's still the same thing. And we want to express that, yeah, it's at the heart, it is really just a cardboard thing that you wrap around a computing devices that are still existing today. Okay, as still updating today. HTC Vive, you can see sorry, wrong camera. Okay, some stuff at the back as well, which are all newer versions of what you see on this screen. Technically, you are asking whether we get the Google Cardboard V2. I've lost track in terms of what Cardboard V whatever is. So let's just have a quick look at what V2 is. Okay, it looks about right. Did that say this is what version? But never mind. Yeah, I think it's all working in the same. Again, at the heart of things is just a magnifier hardware setup. Okay, with a button or buttons. Okay, that interface with your hardware. In your case, if you're using the cardboard, the hardware is a phone. So the button that wraps around certainly needs to work its way around to register interaction with your phone. If you're on a desktop, obviously the interaction is much more comprehensive, right? You have a mouse, you have a keyboard, you have dedicated controllers on the PC VR devices. But just saying that we want to go back to basics, which is why we are using the cardboard. Okay. Yes, I think it's high time we go for another break. because my voice is half breaking. Okay, so let me go to that brick screen. Okay, 5 minutes. I'll see you guys back online. Yeah, it happens every time. Which is why I also buy this expensive mic. But I normally like get carried away and still speak false, which I shouldn't be doing. Thanks. Please.
So you buy all of it here, everything? If it's rain, also?
Unless it's
But you take shower, where's the shower?
I used to, go down to the next room. It's just beside to take a shower. But since done that, I just wipe down using the wipes and then change. Yeah.
Used to. But we double by compensing group. So we work with quality products. They're very gamification.
Is it more like a shop? Custom print builder?
QBP is about one of the things that was stage, so there are lines, but the brand
they make a I mean that they are like they provide the frames for a lot of the bigger name companies.
Exactly.
Okay, are we back? Let me just check on questions. Okay, I'm just trying to find and check that my mic is not muted. Okay. All right. I am reading some private direct messages. Okay. Issues. Some of you are having issues with the Zoom account. So apparently, originally I made the setting that you can only log in using SIT registered account, but apparently that didn't work. So I think some of you who are using a personal account could also log in, which may be a good thing, at least for this first class. So yeah, thanks for informing me that you are using your personal account. So if you are, like some of your friends over here, let me know what your real name is, so that in case they need to audit the exact person, even if you have your name here without the official SIT account, there is still a trail over here because all the messages here are like logged into the recording. All right, which reminds me that I should probably record it on Zoom as well. Yeah, I mean there's a recording of the chats and stuff. Let me just switch on the recording for Zoom, although I don't think it's needed since we recorded it on YouTube as well. But yeah, there's never too much backups. Oh, it's already recorded. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Always trying to look for the buttons on Zoom interface. The other question is what if your phone is not powerful enough? So you should, I think if you're using a modern phone, right, it shouldn't be an issue, okay? Because most of the web-based tools, web-based XR stacks, right, they are meant for making things more accessible to more people. All right, so certainly it's certainly still a big part of your design, whether you put much more polygons with extreme quality shaders in there, or extreme quality textures in there, then of course a lot of those kind of objects in your game certainly would cause it to slow down. But as long as you are aware of that and you factor that in your design, that would be okay lah. Yeah. So I would say that is all part of what we are learning over here, okay? Trying to address some requirements, in which, in this case, one of our requirements is to make, things that are more accessible to more people, okay? So we shouldn't be targeting, that kind of a highest fidelity kind of graphics, which is mostly meant for PC VR. Okay. Okay, continuing with what we have on here. Let's just move on. Okay, so that was a history. Hopefully that allows you to appreciate it a bit more, especially with all the videos that our good friends on YouTube have made for us to consolidate, all these events that have happened that led up to why VR is such a big thing, or XR is such a big thing today. So the various terms over here: VR, AR, MR. I just have typical representative devices of their time put over here. I don't think we need to go too much into trying to, or rather, I would actually like you to tell me what are the differences from your perspective. I think I do have a question later. But VR, if so happen that you are not aware of the terminologies: virtual reality, AR, augmented reality, MR, mixed reality, and XR is extended realities. Probably the term which may cause the most question marks is the one with the question mark here, the XR. But before that, as I mentioned, we'd like to know from your perspective, what is your idea of the difference between augmented reality and mixed reality. Spelling, yes. Good. Augmented reality uses the real world. So I take that to say that you mean mixed reality does not use the real world, which in most cases is not true. So mixed reality also includes the real world. I don't know. Okay, very honest answers. Also appreciate that. Yes, thanks for Googling for us. All right. But I will not click that. MR is the HoloLens. Yes, actually this is a good point. MR is the HoloLens. This is at least, you know, what some people believe. Okay, and also, you know, what Microsoft has tried so hard to redefine, okay, which is pretty successful, I would say. Okay, but the word mixed reality came before the HoloLens, or rather it was already a thing before the HoloLens, but Microsoft has very successfully remarketed the term to something else. Oh, this is totally wrong. Okay, but yes, appreciate the candidness. Okay, this one also appreciate your efforts to put more fun into the class. MR more immersive. Wow, this one arguable. Okay, but mostly we should not make this assumption. Kawe. So can I ask Kawe why? What is the difference? I like all these longer explanations. Spatial understanding, spatially aware placement. Usually via see-through displays. Wow, this is excellent. Okay, this is actually, you know, what Microsoft has advertised, or rather Microsoft has successfully redefined the term as. Okay, so good. I mean, I'm not saying that Microsoft is all correct, or even if there is a notion of correctness here. Okay, but at least we understand that common understanding, common technically savvy XR people's understanding, okay, is actually this box over here. So thanks for writing that. That was your reply. Okay, Kawe. Really? Then why is Brandon saying that was my reply, Kawe? Okay, this is all very strange. Okay, too many levels of reality going on in your chat. Okay. Oh, cannot log into Zoom. I see. So he can see through YouTube. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, yes, this is correct. And just to break it down a bit more, you know, spatial understanding, spatially aware. So when you put the difference, when you're trying to differentiate it, right? AR, at least from this Microsoft-driven marketing perspective, is that AR you overlay, you know, 3D objects. Whether the 3D objects are 2D things, I mean, whether it's 2D interface elements, UI, or actual 3D objects, AR you overlay it in there. Okay, and maybe you anchor it in there. That means you place it on my table, over here, right? Then when you move away, and then the AR, oh sorry, my camera not wide enough. Move this way. The AR thing is still there. So that's called anchoring in AR. But MR is like even better than that. That means if I were to anchor, you know, let's say this is virtual, this thing, okay, the cardboard. If I anchor it here, okay, in space, you know, I move around, it's still there, but it doesn't really understand the environment. What MR tries to say is that this thing, right, it can actually, you know, move and jump onto the table. I'm trying to make my continuity camera follow me. Okay, so that's why my face is like that. Yeah. And then it can also jump onto my keyboard here. So it understands the environment like that. It can also like traverse on my screen, okay, traverse on the face of my desktop screen. So it spatially understands the environment. So that's what, you know, the current popular technical savvy people's notion of MR is. Okay, again, why I say such a long sentence to qualify what I'm saying is because I don't think, there's one real definition, as we will see soon from some academics, that MR is not that simple, okay? Or it can no need to be so simple due to the words being chosen over here, mixed reality. It doesn't really say spatial understanding reality, which is very specific. So I sort of agree that, but just saying that common understanding. Whenever you try to explain, right, what is the difference between AR and MR? Most of the technical savvy people explain using this manner, okay? Any questions about that explanation? Okay, I think a lot of the longer answers do catch have the same gist of what I'm trying to explain over here. Well, there's even a YouTube video. Is this tested in quiz? I don't know. IDK, as what you all say. Okay. All right, but in general, I think we are not testing your factual knowledge. Okay, so that's in general, we want to test your ability to apply things. If you search for XR, you will get all these things. I search for extended reality, but you can also search for XR. Sometimes, people also, it being such a new term, it's getting more and more clearer that people want to associate XR with extended reality. But when the first time people use this word XR, right, it is sort of trying to replace the letter in front of the R by saying that it can be anything. So X, put an X there. Okay, so sorry, I went away from this mic, which makes me sound a bit softer. So there are many ways to interpret this, but it all means the same thing. Okay, what I'm saying is that it's interesting to interpret it as you can replace X with anything, and it is representing this domain of immersive technology. You can also say extended reality, which is what most people associate the word with, since it's very hard to explain. You have an X variable in front and replace it with anything. That's such a long explanation. So I think most people just went with the word extended reality, but it means the same thing, that it encompasses all sorts of immersive applications, okay, or immersive experiences, depending on what angle you look at the term, okay. Some more specific things, which is not very wrong in terms of the available kinds of devices we have now, is that XR is just both AR and VR, okay. But yeah, these are all the things. I find the Venn diagrams very nice, okay, that it sort of like tells us something else here as well, okay. It's not just either VR or AR or MR. It is actually everything, okay? So this, if we look at Venn diagrams like this, it's trying to tell us that maybe the future of devices is that, a device is sort of has all elements, or both elements as we know now, AR and VR. Like the new Oculus, not Oculus, Meta, okay, we shouldn't say Oculus anymore. Quest Pro, okay? Or even the HoloLens is still more towards AR, okay? But Meta Quest Pro is probably more of a dual kind of a device that can do both AR and VR pretty well, okay? Even Quest 2 also does AR somewhat, but the screen that you see through Quest 2, okay, let's just see through video, okay, is very bad, okay? If you look at some of the see-through video, the pass-through cameras on Quest 2 and devices before that, black and white, very jittery, low frame rate. But now Quest Pro onwards, right, the devices have much better pass-through video, which allows for you to do both AR on top of the original VR that it provides. Okay, so that's an understanding of XR. Just showing the IMDA for ages already. Oh, by the way, this space that you see over here is also partly sponsored by IMDA, kindly sponsored by IMDA, because it's just aligned with what they are advocating in terms of tech in Singapore. If you look at IMDA's website, it's listed as one of the 4 main. Sorry. Yes, thanks. I just see Eating. Thanks for reminding me that somehow I forgot to share my screen. Yeah. So it became a podcast for a while. Okay. Yes. I was trying to show IMDA. Yes. Previously, I was trying to show just the extended reality search. Okay. The Venn diagram. Okay. I was saying, yes, one of the 4 key pillars of technology, which is still the case right now, although it is not as prominent as some of the other things from when it first started as a pillar. Okay, like for example, AI is much bigger than anything else right now. Okay, but just saying that yes, this is still one of the key things that Singapore is striving towards. And it coined. I like how IMDA is coining this space, immersive media, and not using any of the R's. Okay, so that is more broadly defined. Okay, so what is this thing again? So why are we trying to understand this term? I think firstly, being a developer in this space, I think it is a means to communicate what you're doing. If you need a more umbrella term, we normally use the word XR nowadays, and it's very commonly, if you look at some of the recent conference talks by the big companies, big tech companies, they do use the word as well. So it really has gone quite mainstream, at least in the tech space. Convergence of consumer devices. Yes, as what I've mentioned in the Venn diagram, you can also see that, it's more than just the word. It's also the fact that many new devices like Quest Pro, the Pico 4, they are all trying to do both. Okay, AR, VR. So devices are becoming like, morphable or hybrid of different Rs. Okay, so XR devices is becoming a real thing nowadays. Okay, rather than just being an umbrella term to say either you are doing this or that. It is an and statement now. All right. Yes. And so for us as researchers, I just wanted to say that we also invented terms, okay? But more so to put forth the fact that there's much more to just what the devices can offer us today. Okay, this is just our website. Just to remind me to show our website. We invented this term called immersification, okay, because we were previously gamification researchers. I know. So, I mean, in the same way that, let me just mute this for myself. So in the same way how gamification has, become a term in the dictionary. Okay, it wasn't a term in the dictionary previously, but after, so much work has done there and it has become a actual field of scientific research in computer science. Okay, it became an English word. So similarly, we sort of want to become, one of the advocates for developing immersive technology as well by introducing this word called immersification, since we believe that, actually any app can be placed on a continuum. We call it immersification continuum. This is spoofing one of the famous continuums in VR. Later you will see what it is, okay? But just saying that we are not trying to claim any originality. When I first presented this at a conference, I also say that we are, trying to just spoof that Milgram's continuum, which we'll see a bit later. Okay, so what I was saying is that, yeah, this immersification task can be, just another design spectrum that we should think about when we are building software, that we're thinking about whether we place it on the far end of the continuum or on the lower end of the continuum, depending on the requirements that we have. All right. Like this was a 360 video lecture that I did some time ago for software engineering class, which, you know, is on the lower end of the immersification continuum, as we like to call it. This is NYP, because, you know, we just don't need the higher interactions that were needed for delivering the class back then. Whereas something like the VR, sorry, this VR bioreactor example over here, it needed much more, you know, detailed interactions with the system in order for us to train students using these VR bioreactors. More updated videos, you know, of the projects that I mentioned can be seen in the website if you are so interested. These are pretty old. That was an extremely old video. There's much more recent things that we did over here. Okay, sorry, shameless plug. Okay, you can go and look at the projects yourself. Okay, this was an old article, another shameless plug for you to read some stuff which I wrote before. Okay, so I mentioned this. Again, it is not a scientific theory that we have created. It was just for the purpose of conveying this aspect of design. Okay, which hopefully at some point later we may actually come to doing research that creates this theory. Okay, but as of now, it's just, you know, an idea for design. Okay, so what I was saying just now was that different requirements certainly lead to different implementations in terms of how immersive, what features you want in there to provide for immersion. Okay. We will come to this in much more detail in next week. In case you are still, you know, not really sure what I'm talking about in terms of why am I introducing this abstract concept. Okay, now for some quiz questions. Or rather, you know, bonus quiz questions. So note again that if you came late into this session, that at the end of each class, I would see who is the winner and then, you know, keep track of who you are so that if you get top score for 2 times, you will get 1 bonus mark for the course. Okay, so look at this video. Another one of my very old works in AR. Okay, that's enough. I think that was Google Glass days. Okay, if you remember or know what that is. Yes, please enter the competition. I will just wait for 10 seconds. Okay, let's start. Oops, sorry. I clicked on the wrong thing. Let me go back that slide. Okay. So this is the first competitive question. The previous questions are not part of the competition. Whenever you see a competitive question that adds to your marks in this session, it looks like that, right? But I think most of you have done this Mentimeter quiz before. Okay. I mean that sort of surprised me because the name of that thing has AR in it. Okay, Jog AR. Okay. Again, why is this not? Yeah, names are names, right? You may have not realized that there's an AR here, or you may not have realized that I mentioned this is an AR project. Okay, all those hints are besides the point. The main thing is that remember what we say about common perception of AR versus MR is that MR is sort of we need the objects to in the overlaid thing to understand the space in the real world. So in that project, we didn't have like, the bar that you see. If you look at something inside the scene, yep. So we didn't have like, the objects actually know where the trees are, right? Maybe this is not such a, yeah, like this hurdle over here, it did not know that the trees are where the real trees are and so on. Okay, so this is more of a AR. Okay, there is certainly. I mean, I'm a bit stumbling over here in my voice because I'm trying to think about why you are answering this way. I am thinking perhaps, the reason why you think this is MR is because there's tracking being done on the person, right? So when I hit the bar, certainly the bar is like it knows somewhat that I hit it. But that is not what typically, the understanding of MR is. It's like the bar needs to like move and know where I am to avoid me, for example. In this case, we're just using the sensors in the phone, the Google AR as a Google Glass, okay, the sensors to know where I am, and then I try to match that to, where this is in the virtual world. Okay, so there's slight difference. Again, this is just common perception. We can say everything is MR. Okay, but here I'm just trying to ask in terms of what is the common perception. Okay, next. This one, somebody also gave away the answer already, right? Just looking at the device. You may recognize some of them, you may not. Okay.
And it really depends on case-by-case basis.
Managing Director, hello. Some of our SIT lecturers who are now assistant professors, some of them. This was again some time ago, where Kirin, one of the module leads of this module, engineering, design, graphics, okay, use HoloLens as part of her teaching. This is Alfred, also part of the teaching team, okay. So students were designing graphics in SolidWorks and just using the HoloLens as a prototyping thing for them to not have to actually build the physical mechanical part after they design in SolidWorks, okay, which is a 3D CAD style software. Okay, so this was the project. I think there's no need to look at the video to the end, but you can certainly look for it on our website. Hey, why am I always clicking the wrong button? Let me go back there. Okay. Oops, I didn't wait for anybody to come in, but I trust that whoever is in already. Okay, so what experience is that HoloLens one? 15 seconds. Okay, this is due to the device. The device is entirely it is meant for mixed reality. Okay, so yes, whatever you build in there, sort of, by nature, the device, the fact that it senses all the point clouds allows you to have all the objects in there understand spatially the entire environment. Yeah, so it is MR. And just now already say, Microsoft HoloLens. This term is sort of reinvented by them or redefined by them. Okay, as you all know, I don't need to explain this. Okay, this leaderboard just allows us to know who is the best in this week. Okay, but here is just for this round. So let me just skip that. Okay, now we start on some theory. Okay, based on science. This is Milgram and Kishino's. Oh, I just heard some thunder. Very appropriate for this because this is also one of the hallmark theories, okay, of in general, immersive applications, okay. So this is their version of reality virtuality continuum, okay. Firstly, it is not what I've shown just now. Our version is just a spoofing thing, although there's some thought that went into there to, try and classify all applications, okay, but just saying that this is a different, this is the original reality virtuality continuum, okay. Also a means to classify all applications, okay, but it was originally meant for display technologies back then, 1994. The paper is here. I open it up, I think somewhere. Okay, never mind, not waste time there. Okay, but basically you can see that one end is real, one end is virtual. That means here is the real world. The other end of the spectrum is the virtual world, okay, entirely in the virtual world. So when you are talking about some display, okay, not application, I meant use the wrong word. Application is our immersification continuum. So this is talking about the technology, okay, the display technology. Okay, that some technologies allow you to experience virtuality entirely or close to entirely. This is theoretical, because there's no 100% virtual. Arguably, there's 100% real, okay? But that's arguable philosophically. But anyway, so your device can be anywhere here, okay? And note the term MR. So this was the original definition published by a paper, okay? And note that papers are peer-reviewed by experts, okay? So maybe there is, more foundation to how they created this diagram or define these words. Okay, so this is what it is. It shows that anything can be somewhere in between virtual and real, and AR is more towards the real, obviously, because you're overlaying fake things on the real world. Whereas like VR, there's no VR word here, okay, but VR will be closer to here because you are sort of like bringing some elements of realness into your fake world, okay? Any questions? So this is the original continuum, okay? Allows you to categorize and also, in our perspective, allows you to think about what your goals are when you create an application. In that paper, worth a read. It's not extremely hard to read. It's not like overly a mathematical or anything. Okay. Some details, important details from the paper is this. The RV continuum is split into further dimensions. As you can see, this ABCD over here. This is just a mixture of all of them into a 3D graph, right? A 3D visualization. A point in here means that your app is, has some different levels of qualities of these 3 dimensions. Okay, so the first dimension is extent of world knowledge. Okay, it is basically, let me just see if I can zoom. Yes, I can zoom. How much of the world is it modeled in your system? Okay, so this is extent of knowing about the world. Okay, in a way, like our previous Microsoft definition of MR, this is pretty high, right? You want the real world to be completely modeled in your system. Okay, whether your system is delivered or implemented, this part of the system is implemented in the hardware or software. That's the level of detail of implementation. Okay, then the second one is RF. Reproduction fidelity, this just means how much quality, how much realness quality is in your 3D assets. Okay, if you're talking about 3D objects. If you're talking about the technology, how much fidelity can your screen actually show such that it looks realistic? Okay. The last one is extent of presence. So how much does your technology be able to deliver the thing such that it's indistinguishable from, you actually looking at the thing in real life. Okay. So these are the three things. Okay. Three dimensions of RV. Okay, I've include some of my own short sentences to interpret what the three things are. Okay, EWK is how much it understands the real world. RF, how realistic the assets that are. Okay, the objects that you built in there. And then EPM is your interaction with that software in the display hardware, right? How much it makes you feel that it's real. Okay, for example, the HMD, obviously the whole hardware allows you to interact with the display in a much more realistic manner. Okay, so all these three things are the dimensions. The next few questions is testing your understanding of those three things. Actually no, it's more broader. Okay, it's just placing it on the spectrum. Okay, this graphic was kindly provided by my son, who I exploited to draw Pokemon Go. Okay. So if you don't know what Pokemon Go is, it is a location-based game in which this picture is trying to show a typical screen where you throw the ball at the virtual Pokemon-ish object, and the background is the camera view of the real world. Okay, so that's what the Pokemon Go core mechanic is. Okay, so you throw the Pokemon ball, virtual ball at virtual object, but superimposed in a camera feed of the real world. For Clarence's question, yeah, what I described, I think, answers your question. Okay, so yes, you can see imagine the spectrum over here, real to fake, right? Real to virtual. Okay, yes, it is somewhere here, okay, because it is, overlaying minimal objects, virtual objects, onto a real view of the real world. So it should be somewhere here. And certainly it's not like totally real world, right? Yeah, so definitely it's not A. Okay, it's not like a good mix of both. It's not in right smack in between. It's not more virtual than real, so therefore it's not here, and so on. Okay, definitely not completely virtual. No such thing. Okay. Okay, next question. This is Beat Saber. Okay. Again, if you don't know what Beat Saber is, okay, it is, you wearing a HMD, head-mounted display, and then using the controllers, maybe Vive controllers, to control virtual blades that you see through your glasses as real blades that cut objects that fly towards you. Okay, so that's the core game mechanic in there. Oh, 3 hours of non-stop talking. Certainly my voice will break. Okay, good. Notice that, just now I just mentioned no such thing as purely virtual, but most of you still chose this. And I also included this as a correct answer because I think it's just conceptual, right? We are just trying to say that, this is much more virtual than real. Okay, so it's okay if you place this here, you can treat that end of the spectrum as something that is very close to the end, right? Which is really what most HMD type experiences are. Okay, so it's very virtual. So D is also correct. Okay, next. Sorry for those who are looking at this from YouTube. I think you will not be able to answer in time since the lag is more than 10 or 15 seconds. Okay. This is a screenshot of my Strava account. And Strava is very popular for cyclists, although it's also for running and swimming. You can track your sports activities primarily for cycling. Yeah, and so it tracks where your bikes are based on whatever device you're using, whether it's a pure cycling computer or you're just using a phone. It will track using GPS. And then if you have other devices like a speedometer or speed tracker, speed sensor, cadence sensor, how fast you are rotating your pedals, those are also information that can be fed into Strava. Okay, then it will rank you, according to stuff and many other things. Yeah, but mainly to track where you are going. Okay, so yeah, I know most of you chose this. Okay, controversial, right? But the fact that I put it at B because I wanted to highlight this point that the realness or virtualness, right, is not entirely defined by one dimension, which I will just go on to the next question before explaining this, okay? Because the next question is related. I think the question not asked most not phrased the most grammatically correct. I'm just trying to say that why is Strava not like answer A? Okay, just now most of you answer A, right? Yeah. So why is it like not exactly at very close to the real end of the spectrum? And I put it, between the midpoint and the extreme real end. I did not anticipate that most of you would choose that answer, but I just wanted to explain. Okay, good. The highest bar is the right thing I wanted to emphasize here. Okay, so remember what the extent of world knowledge is. Maybe we don't, so we can just go back a few slides. Okay, right here, this EWK thing is about modeling the real world. Okay. So other than the fact that you have these two continuums, okay, it actually models the what it needs for the app pretty well, right? In terms of using GPS and cycling sensors to know what you are doing on the bike. Okay, so therefore I'm placing it, a bit more to the right and not entirely like at the extreme real part of things, because it has a fair good amount of real world modeling using the sensors. GPS, yes. So technically GPS, I mean, the way you're asking, definitely I'll answer no, right? GPS is AR. GPS is not AR. But GPS can be used to model the world such that you deliver an AR experience. I think that's the right way to phrase that sentence. Yeah. So in a large GPS is used in a large way in Strava to model the real world, to provide an AR experience. I know this may not be what typically AR means, but I'm just using this to highlight, using the definition here, which is a fair, theoretical definition. We can place this a bit further, okay, to having some form of virtuality. Yep. Thanks for the discussion. So Weebun is asking, isn't Strava just using map and GPS data? So what I just described, right? It is using GPS to understand and model the world. GPS is just one thing, I mean, you can use other sensors. And so this combination fusion of sensor data allows it to understand the real world for what it's meant for. It's just meant for, for that option, right? Cycling. So it's meant to understand all aspects of what you're doing in terms of cycling in the real world, and it does it pretty well. I'm not saying that it goes all the way to the extent of, you know, in the midpoint of the spectrum, but at least, you know, it's somewhere here. Looking at all these things in totality, I don't think it's extremely, you know, right at the edge here, which is option A, which most of you chose. I think it's somewhere, you know, here. Yeah. Okay. Explain a lot. Okay, all good questions. Let me just address one by one. Satellite view, Yongli, satellite view is EWK or RF. Okay, so satellite view is actually looking at representation of the real world, right? So it is not the virtual content that you create. So I wouldn't say that it is RF, all right? So satellite view, it is, I mean, I wouldn't say that it's high on RF, but it is, you know, trying to contribute to the RF continuum. Okay, so it is some content in there, okay, but it's not high on the RF continuum. That's how I understand it. So I'm totally thinking about this on the fly, just like you do. And your questions, I haven't even crossed my mind previously. So thanks for asking those things. If I say something that is in conflict with what you think is correct, certainly voice it out as well. It's all a discussion, right? I mean, I'm not claiming to be a super expert in this particular theory, but it allows us to have these conversations, which is the most important thing over here. And whether I'm right or you are right, I think it's slightly not the most important thing over here as well. But it allows, you know, like if you are a developer on my team, we can have these conversations of, if we up this, the satellite view to be much more looking like the real world, would it actually improve my immersion in this AR app? I think those are the key things that we should take away as the tools we have from understanding this continuum. Continuing the questions here, Yonghui, Yonghui, right? Real camera calibration by Google. Real camera calibration. Where do we get real camera calibration in Strava? I'm not sure about that. Yes, yeah. Does that not fall under EPM also? If there was a view of the real world through the camera, then yeah, you have a point there. But if we're talking about Strava, I don't think Strava has that feature, unless I don't know of it. Okay, of you actually, I don't think so because you're cycling, you don't want to look at the camera view, right? Okay, but there may be other apps that allows you to look through the camera. What? Okay, I'm almost over time. Sorry. Continue the conversation on Slack. Normally I don't end this late, but let me just see what is the next slide after that, and then we'll end on the next slide, and then we will continue discussion on Slack, as well as I will talk to you guys online on Slack again on Thursday. What is this? Okay. Okay, very nicely done. So we have a leaderboard here. We'll take this leaderboard as the leaderboard for this week's award. HY. Screen not sharing. Okay, thanks Indra. Yeah. That's the nice thing about having our team in the same room. Yes, so yeah, we will use this slide. So congratulations, HY, for being the first person to gain the upper hand here. And please screenshot your achievement now and send me in DM on Slack just to record this achievement. All right. Otherwise, I think we should stop here. I need to stop the stream because I don't want to hold up anybody else. Last question. Yongli, the omnidirectional rig. You want to try, can, but it's not a very nice experience, I must warn you. Okay, it has since become an antique in our room, okay, because of how not so nice the experience is. Jia Zheng, I say last question, right? Okay, that's so let us just continue on Slack. Any further questions I will answer on Slack. Otherwise, this stream will be still available on YouTube, okay? But I will need to take it down at some point, okay? Yeah, because this is supposed to be a more private session. The public videos are not this. Okay, I need to stop. Bye. See you guys on Thursday online. Yes, thank you. Bye bye.
Nowadays, it's big. Smartphone.